A young girl named Candace "Candy" Rogers, born on July 18, 1949, in Spokane, Washington, vanished without a trace in 1959, sparking one of the largest search efforts in U.S. history. Candy, an only child, had a close relationship with her father and enjoyed playing outdoors with friends and her dog. She was excited when she joined the Campfire Girls, a group for girls similar to the Boy Scouts, and was tasked with selling mints door to door. On March 6, 1959, Candy set out with several boxes of mints after school, planning to sell them in her neighborhood. However, by 6 p.m., when she was supposed to return home, she had not come back. Her worried mother, along with her grandfather, began searching the streets, but there was no sign of Candy. Soon, neighbors and friends joined the search, but the police were called after hours of no progress. A witness claimed to have seen Candy around 6:30 p.m. on a nearby street, which raised questions, especially since Candy's mother had already been searching by that time. Furthermore, Candy's grandfather nearly got hit by a car near that area, but he couldn't get the license plate number, only remembering that it was a green 1953 Ford. Later that night, several mint boxes were found near a bridge, further intensifying the search efforts. The next morning, news of Candy's disappearance spread across the media, with more than 1,000 people, including military personnel, joining the search. Despite these efforts, they couldn't find any trace of her. On the 15th day of the search, 2 military members on a hunting trip discovered a pair of children's shoes in the woods, which were identified as belonging to Candy. Soon after, Candy's body was found in the woods, covered with pine branches. The cause of death was determined to be strangulation, and the evidence indicated that she had been bound and sexually assaulted. A green car seat cover was found nearby, but it didn't provide any solid leads. Additionally, a purple stain resembling grape-flavored chewing gum was found on Candy's clothes, but its significance remained unclear. The investigation turned to a man named Alfred Braves, who died by suicide on the same day Candy's body was found. He had lived near Candy's home and was known for keeping disturbing clippings related to sexual crimes. However, no direct evidence linked him to the murder, and the investigation continued with many other suspects. One such suspect was Hugh Morse, a serial killer arrested in 1961. He had a history of violent crimes, including the assault of 2 young girls in Spokane shortly after Candy's death. He was known for frequently chewing grape-flavored gum, which made him a possible link to the purple stain found on Candy's clothing. Despite his criminal history, the investigation into his involvement remained inconclusive. A medical commission once diagnosed Hugh as a sexual psychopath, which led to his placement in a mental health facility. After 2 years, doctors deemed him cured and released him. He later moved to Spokane, where he began peeping into women's windows. In November 1959, he broke into a 28-year-old woman's home, assaulted and murdered her. 10 months later, he attacked a 69-year-old woman in a similar manner. A month after that, he assaulted another woman, stabbing her multiple times, though she survived. After these incidents, Hugh left the city, continuing to commit violent crimes across different cities and states. His attacks included assaulting women and girls with a knife, killing 2 victims. Eventually, the FBI took over the case, adding Hugh to the list of the country's 10 most wanted criminals. He was captured and sentenced to life in prison. Despite attempting to end his life in his cell, Hugh survived and continued to serve his sentence. Investigators looked into Hugh's involvement in a particular case, but he consistently denied it, even passing a polygraph test, which lacked legal validity. Although Hugh was considered a prime suspect due to his proximity to Spokane at the time of the murder, police found no concrete evidence linking him to the crime. They then shifted focus to another suspect, Howard Barnett, a 49-year-old man arrested for molesting a minor in February 1960. Barnett took his life in police custody, leaving a blood-written message, "I have a sin before the Lord." His wife, upon learning of his arrest, asked if he had killed a girl named Candy, but police couldn't find evidence linking him to the crime. Despite this, Barnett remained a prime suspect because he lived near Candy's home. In the following years, the case was revisited several times, with a woman coming forward to claim she saw a green car following Candy before her disappearance. However, this lead didn't yield results, and multiple false confessions were dismissed by police. In the early 2000s, a breakthrough came in the case that had haunted investigators for decades. The tragic murder of Candy, which took place in 1959, had left a small town gripped by mystery. For over 40 years, the case seemed unsolvable, with dead ends at every turn. The clues, though preserved in evidence, were inadequate for the technology of the time, and every attempt to identify the perpetrator had failed. But in the new millennium, forensic science had made strides, and modern technology offered a fresh avenue for the investigation. A sample of male semen found on Candy's clothing, preserved in evidence since the crime, became the key to unraveling the decades-old mystery. When DNA analysis became more advanced, investigators seized the opportunity. After painstaking analysis, they were able to extract a usable DNA profile from the sample. This profile was uploaded to the FBI's database, yet no matches were found. The search continued, with the profile compared against numerous suspects, but each was ruled out. One of the most persistent theories had been the involvement of a local man, Hugh Morris, but DNA evidence finally put that theory to rest. There was no link to him. For years, the case went cold, frustrating detectives and the community alike. The families involved, Candy's in particular, suffered through decades of not knowing who had taken their loved one's life. However, the investigation wasn't over. In 2021, the case was reignited when a fresh detective joined the team and introduced a cutting-edge method, genetic genealogy. This innovative technique had been used in other high-profile cases and was a ray of hope in cases that had stalled. Earlier attempts to analyze the DNA sample had faltered, but now, with improved technology, one laboratory was able to extract new information. The breakthrough came when the profile was uploaded to genealogical databases, which allowed the team to trace familial connections, rather than relying solely on direct matches in criminal databases. This led to a stunning revelation. The suspect was part of a family with 3 brothers, all of whom were deceased. The detective then reached out to the daughter of one of these brothers, hoping to establish a link. The results were startling. The DNA matched, and the suspect was identified as John Hoff, a man who had never before been connected to the crime. Hoff had been 20 years old at the time of the murder and had lived near Candy's home. A former soldier, he had been stationed near the area where Candy's body had been discovered. This new information set off a chain of events, leading investigators to uncover a disturbing detail. 2 years after Candy's death, Hoff had attacked another woman, nearly killing her. He had served a brief prison sentence, and after his release, he had seemingly gone on to lead a normal life. What do you think about the age connection? Coincidence or something more? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on cold cases and forensic breakthroughs.